Yeah.
25.
25. Do you support the current administration?
Yes and no. I support most of it, but also I'm not anti-abortion, and also the last guy was an idiot.
Um, the last guy was an idiot. So why do you
Yeah.
support the current administration?
I support their economic work, and I also support them like
Right.
deporting the illegal immigrants, but not the legal ones. So, like, I think what Trump did it was like where he deported the actual U.S. citizens was dumb as fuck. But I do think that we need stricter immigration reform, otherwise our country will fall.
Yeah. So do you think it's like bad to deport citizens because that's illegal?
Oh yeah, no, I do think that if they're
Oh,
actual
so
legal.
so then you agree with all the circuit courts, the federal judges, and the Supreme Court referencing as other illegal deportations of non-citizens.
Yeah. I mean, if they're non-citizens, they shouldn't have constitutional rights under the US government because it shouldn't apply to non-citizens in my opinion. Or the law, is it the law?
Well, the issue with that is that constitutional rights also cover human rights, and I believe that all humans deserve human rights, not just citizens.
Oh yeah, I agree with that as well. I mean, I would say that they're a little
And that's
separate though.
one reason. Well, that's the best conception of human rights that we have in America, legally speaking, is going to be heavily reliant on those that are observed in the Constitution. Okay, so that's one really good reason why undocumented migrants deserve constitutional rights. Now, okay, this is also worth pointing out. If we don't give undocumented migrants, the constitutional rights, they don't have a right to due process. And how could we truly determine that they're undocumented migrants?
I think they deserve due process no matter if they're documented or not. I
Oh,
mean,
so
I
they
think
deserve
Trump's going about it
constitutional
from a
rights.
bad way.
So they deserve
Um,
constitutional rights. Awesome. Also, if you're
I
saying that
I
you
believe they
don't,
deserve some constitutional rights because if you think about it, like constitutional rights can like they it can cover a lot of different things. So I mean, I think that Trump shouldn't be breaking the law at
can you give
all.
me an
And
example of like one constitutional rights that undocumented
I'm
migrants
not
don't
educated
justifiably
enough
deserve?
on constitutional rights. Not gonna lie. But I mean, so I guess we could just say they deserve all constitutional rights because I'm not
Perfect.
trying to defend Trump breaking the law at all. I mean, I believe that Trump, like for the most part, economically is good, but the tariffs are definitely a bad idea because of the fact how it's tanking our economy. But I think the first time he was doing pretty good until it came to COVID, and then that
I
kind of tanked it.
have a question.
Yeah.
You said that for the most part, Donald Trump is good economically, apart from the tariffs. Name one other form or conception or implementation of economic policy that Donald Trump has passed since the beginning of his term outside of his tariffs.
This term, I think he's doing much worse than his first term. The first term, he was putting a lot more money into backing U.S. into U.S. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I just want to clarify that he has no other economic policy in the first 100 days outside of his tariffs, right?
This 100 days, I'm gonna say he's doing really bad. The first
There you go.
administration, I will say he did a lot better, but this second administration, it feels like he's not even like trying. The
There you go.
first administration, his cabinet was empty, but it was filled with like people that were actually somewhat qualified, the people that were in it. But the this administration, it feels like he's just tossing random people in there, like Elon Musk, that are out to benefit the billionaires and not our country. So
Yeah,
I would say that the
could
first
not agree more.
administration, yeah, I would say the first administration, it felt like he was trying a lot more to help the American people than it is this time.
So then why support?
Well, I would say that I support him because I feel like he's gotten worse, but I feel like maybe we can get back to the point. And I mean, and he can't run again. So I mean, we it's either we support him to do better, or we fall as a country and delve into civil war where we're just demonizing each
But
other.
listen, man, we have no indicators that he is going to be better. We have
Yeah.
no indicators that he's just suddenly going to wake up one morning and be like, I've been doing it wrong all along. Let's benefit this country, which means that belief, although it's hopeful, is a conspiracy theory. Okay.
I would
And
say
outside of
most of
that, well,
that
I
conspiracy theory
have
is
one
bad
last thing I'd
though,
like to
because
say
it
here.
delves conspiracy theories
I'd have
down to.
I have one last thing to say here. Okay, one
Mhm.
last thing. If you
I did
want
have
Trump
one
to,
other thing I want to talk about if we could.
for sure, if you want Trump to do better for the American people, the only way to attempt to achieve that is to hold him accountable, is to revoke your support when he's doing unsupportable things, and is to point out when he's making bad decisions. That's what I'm doing. So if you want to see Trump do better, as you say, you should be doing that too.
Well, how does us pulling our support away from him do anything? Us not supporting him, us supporting him, neither of them are really doing much at all. And I think that I'm more of an independent voter and like an independent person
It's
versus
the only
being
thing we can do.
But what does that do? It's not really much that happens when we do that. If you look at our protesting, it's or like democratic protesting, it's not really doing anything to change anything currently. It feels like, and like even Elon, like people are like.
So I just want to clarify,
if,
your
like
argument
the
for
people
supporting
that
Trump is that not supporting him wouldn't do anything effective, even though his presidency is shit.
I would say his presidency this time is worse than the first time, but him as a person, and your caption saying "prove me wrong," Trump is terrible for America. Him as a person isn't terrible. His administration may be terrible in your opinion,
Oh,
though.
him as a person, he's also terrible. Yeah,
Well, I mean, not for America. Maybe in your
sure it is.
opinion, he's a terrible person morally.
He's wait.
How would you say that if he wasn't
So
president?
he's a terrible person morally, of course. And then even him as a person is terrible for America. You understand that like 90% of everything he's done so far has been executive orders, if not a higher percentage.
Well, 40 years ago, if you looked at him as a person, was it terrible for America in your eyes?
40 years ago? Yeah.
In what ways?
Let's see. The 40 years ago, that was the
Other
80s, right?
other than other than renting. So when he was
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
was in
Other than
when he
like
was
discriminating,
actually
other than like discriminating against like black tenants at his rental properties, which I guess is
yeah,
something that you
that
get mad
was
fun about.
bad. I will say that I do believe that Trump
Other than
in a sense is
defrauding
racist.
charities, other than calling his own daughter hot,
Okay, I didn't know about that.
other than hanging out
That
with
was weird.
Epstein and talking about how much he likes Diddy, other than like the Central Park five that happened in the '90s, other than that.
I'm gonna move on to the next one point though, is that people were saying you were racist earlier, and I've watched you for a while, and I didn't think you were racist, but I will say that there are some racist qualities in you, especially of the fact that it doesn't seem like from when you're talking about like slavery in the past and civil acts and the history of slavery and the movement that you actually care. You kind of it feels like you use it as an argument point, like you use it to basically discredit other people. Like earlier you were saying that how people like slave owners don't value people of color as human, and then you're using that as an argument in abortion. But I would say that that kind of seems racist when you use black history and the
His
wrongdoing.
position indirectly justified racism. His position was that if you don't look at a person like a person, even if they are still a person nonetheless, if you hold the perception they're not a person, it's not murder if you kill them. Okay, so he indirectly
I
justified
will
the
agree that he had
perpetuation
a
of
bad
systemic
take, but
racism and unaliving of enslaved individuals in America during American slavery.
well, he didn't bring that up. You did.
That's why I said it was an indirect consequence of his logic. If he brought it up, it would
Yeah,
have been a
but you
direct
brought.
consequence.
I would say that it'd be better to use a non-racial like historical thing for that because otherwise it seems like you're using racism.
Why should we let beliefs be propagated in society that indirectly justify things like slavery, indirectly justify things like racially motivated murder,
Well, he didn't
indirectly
bring that up.
justify
He was
things.
arguing abortion.
I don't think it matters if he brought it up or didn't bring it up. It's a belief in which
You brought
propagates a
it up though.
justification of those systemically terrible, horrendous, atrocious, and harmful behaviors, activities, and consequences.
So the people in chat saying why censored and why erase history. It's not erasing history. It's using it for your own agenda, whether it's politically or morally or ideological.
So
Uh,
I just want to clarify that you do
Weaponizing
think it.
racism
So I
is
do just want to clarify that you do
is
think that it's permissible to propagate beliefs in which indirectly justify literally killing people because of their race as not being murder. and that we should just be complacent, okay, and allow that to be permissed.
No,
That's
I'm saying
okay?
that's totally wrong. But
Right,
I
and
completely agree
fucking
that
precisely,
murdering
right, and
people at
because
all is bad.
that's totally
But I
wrong.
will say that
Okay, I
using that
pointed
to
it
back
out
up your argument is
insofar as
wrong.
disputing the underlying logic as it indirectly justifies that.
But did you use racism and the history of the civil movement and the wrongdoings against African Americans to back up your argument? Yes or no?
I used it to refute his argument as it indirectly justified all of it.
Yeah, you used the history to discredit him.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
not
yes,
using it to
yes.
benefit
We
your
should
argument?
absolutely reflect on history and use it as a tool to ensure that bigoted beliefs in which indirectly justify atrocious things throughout history don't occur again. That's precisely what we should do.
It's not bigoted to believe it's not bigoted, but it's ignorant to believe that women should not have the choice
Wait.
to carry or not. I think
We need to clarify exactly what was being disputed. Okay, exactly what was
yeah.
being
So what was
disputed
being disputed there?
was his belief
What was being disputed there?
that you could kill a human,
Yeah.
you could kill a person, you could kill an individual, and as long as you don't view them as a human, as long as you don't view them as a
Yeah,
person,
that's
as
fine.
long as you don't view them as an individual, it's not murder. Okay? That belief was being used by the guests to justify his view on abortion. However, that belief simultaneously makes the implication that African American individuals that were enslaved were not murdered. African American individuals that were enslaved, there was no culpability or wrongdoing on behalf of the enslaver, as they didn't possess a perception that they were people. So it's like when you tell me that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm doing something racist by pointing that out, I just view that as a belligerent bad faith reach, because in all reality, that deserves to be pointed out. That deserves to be spoken about. It deserves to be pointed out that that belief unintentionally propagates very bad and bigoted virtues as a second order consequence. And that it absolutely should be used as a refutation to the principle.
Do you not find it somewhat racist to use racism though and the civil rights movement to back up your own political arguments though?
Once again, you're saying that it was backing up my political argument by disputing his. I don't find that racist at
Yeah,
all.
it is. You used it to back up and argue against his. So you don't find it racist to use it.
So I just want to clarify. Wow. So you're saying that if you use like racism in history to justify political
yourself
movements
and better your own
today,
argument.
that's racist. So when MLK used the treatment of African
MLK
Americans
was a
through
part of the
slavery
civil rights
to justify his
He was
political
the-
movement for civil rights, was that racist?
Did you go through the civil movement, or did any of your ancestors?
Why are you asking this question? I'm merely testing your principle
brought
that
up
it's
MLK.
racist to use racism in history to justify political movements today.
He was living through the history. He died because of the history. You did not.
Okay, so it's only racist to do that if you didn't live or die through it.
I would say it's racist to do that if you're a white man that's using the history of the civil rights movement to back up your own argument. Yes, because you're using it.
Tell me.
to benefit
Okay,
yourself.
so when somebody comes up here, they share a belief with me that literally justifies killing black people. Okay, if I point
Well,
out that
he
their
didn't
belief,
mention.
it-
He said he was talking about
if you don't mention that
You
their belief,
mentioned
wait,
it.
if they don't mention that their belief literally justifies killing black people, then it's racist to point out that their belief literally
you're
justifies
using
killing
it
black
against
people.
the
Are you being
benefit argument,
serious?
because- Yeah, I'm being serious because of.
Yeah.
I'm being serious because of the
If
fact
somebody
that you're
holds a
using it
belief
again.
that literally justifies killing black people, and you point that
He
out,
didn't say that,
you're
though.
racist.
His ideology was that people should not be able to choose whether to abort someone or abort.
No,
a
you're
fetus or a
misrepresenting
zygote or
his
not.
view. You're misrepresenting his view. The view that was being
Well,
disputed
state his
is
view.
that no.
State his view,
What I already
since you
have.
don't have it.
You're misrepresenting the view. The view
it
that was.
again.
I will say it again. The view that was being disputed is that you could kill a person, and as long as you don't think they're a person, it's not murder.
Can we go back to the timestamp like you did with the last guy to quote him on that?
No.
Okay, well, we'll just move on to the next person, because of the
Wait,
fact
I
that
concede first.
also
I want you to concede that that's like just like a crazy
I'm
fucking
not going to
point.
concede because it is a little racist to use the civil rights movement to your own benefit, whether it's an argument, whether it's anything.
Okay, so I want to clarify me. I want to a point of clarification. If me pointing out that somebody I'm debating holds to beliefs that literally justify killing black people, okay, and that's like a really good reason why that is a bad,
I'm not saying
fallacious.
it wasn't a good
One moment, one
comparison.
moment. Just allow me to finish. Okay, so if somebody gives me a belief, okay, and that belief literally justifies killing black people, okay, and then I point out that their belief literally justifies killing black people, okay, and that provides reason why it's a bad, fallacious, illogical, irresponsible, harmful belief that you should not hold to. I'm racist.
I'm not saying that you're fully racist. I'm saying it is a racist behavior. Because I'm not saying,
Okay,
hey, racism by
I
in
disagree, and
definition
in fact,
is
I think
believing
that's
that a
insane to
racism
say. In fact, I think that's
here.
insane to fucking say. I think that is so crazy to say. That is like one of the craziest things I've heard all day.
What
Yeah,
is?
it's racist to point out when somebody's belief justifies killing black people.
Well, his thing does not support killing black people.
Yes, it does.
That has
Wait,
not happened.
wrong,
That
wrong.
has
It
not
does. It does. It
happened.
does. It does. It absolutely does.
How?
His belief that it's not murder
How?
if you kill a person if you don't see them as a person absolutely justified slave owners
I don't
killing
think he
enslaved
said
individuals.
exactly that though. He was asking you.
Wait,
You
wait,
asked
wait,
him
wait.
at what
He
stage
doesn't
he believes
he
that it's
doesn't have to
viable.
say it in order for it to be true.
You said that it was. You said that that was the case. He
And
did not.
it is the case.
Well, how?
That is a
But he did
logical
not say that.
consequence of the belief. It absolutely is. And you
I
don't have
would.
to
I
say
would
something in order
agree
for it to be
that.
true. That's
I would
unreal.
agree that you, as a political talking point or a political commentator, deflect a lot, just like the conservative people deflect a lot to using other arguments to benefit your own.
You know, I think I'll continue to make sure I point it out when people's beliefs literally justify killing black people. I'm not going to stop, and I don't think it's racist.
Well, next topic, because I'm not conceding that because I do feel like that's racist.
Okay, well, that's an insane,
But
ludicrous,
next topic.
like that's just an insane, ludicrous,
Well, what would you?
estranged,
How would you find it
fucking
racist?
crazy belief. Like that's a
Well, I would
reality.
say.
Like your
I
belief
would
that
say.
that's racist is literally fucking batshit crazy wrong.
Okay, so then how would you say that it's not true to use racism and to use the civil rights movement to back up your own argument? How
Here's
is
the
that
issue. Here's the
not?
issue. Here's the issue. So you're acting as if it's my fault that his belief justified killing black people.
You brought it up. He did not. He did not make a racist statement. You did. You
You don't.
used
So I
racism
want to
and
clarify.
the civil rights
You do
movement
not
to back
need
up your
to. You do not need to vocalize. You do not need to state. You do not need to speak that this belief implies the justification of killing black individuals. Because if the belief does imply justifiably killing black individuals, it is still true nonetheless. Like it is,
Okay, well, I'm not
it is a
conceding
fact.
on
It
that.
is
Next
true.
topic.
It is undeniable, regardless if he said it, regardless if he thought it, regardless if he even acknowledged it. That principle entailed the justification of killing black people. Okay, right? And
I
in
would say
fact,
next
I'll even
topic.
argue that you're saying that he didn't
Yeah.
know that. Oh, he didn't see that. He didn't say that. Okay, that's likely a fair observation to make. He probably didn't think
The
about the
people in
fact
chat
that
saying
his
that
principle.
the people in chat
Listen,
saying I
listen to
don't
what
have
I'm
a
saying while I'm
racist
speaking to you,
comment.
please. He probably
Sorry, go
didn't
ahead.
think about the fact that his principle justified killing black people. You're right. He probably didn't think that. Okay, that
You
was all
think
the more
that it
reason
does?
for me to bring it up to dispute the principle. I have
So
a
do you
question also.
believe that?
I have a question. Are you white?
Uh-huh. No, I'm half black, half white.
Okay, go ahead.
But next up, the I will say that also he was talking about abortion though. So I would
I want to
say
ask you a
that
question. Is Trump
yeah.
racist?
I would say that Trump definitely has said and done racist things in his life.
Is he
So I
racist?
would say that would, I would say, well, you going back to the screenshots that you mentioned earlier, just because you say something and do things that are racist, does that make you a racist for life?
Yeah, arguably when I use racial slurs, I was racist.
Well, are you still though?
No, I'm not racist now because I've been able to hold myself
So then,
accountable,
so then he's said
apologize for my
racist
actions,
things.
and
Well,
and,
he
cha-
says
and
he
have
loves
and
black
experience
people.
genuine change in my character. Has Donald
Well,
Trump held himself
he says he
accountable?
loves
Has Donald
black
Trump
people.
genuinely experienced change in his character? Has Donald
Yeah,
Trump?
I would say that in his thing where he supports black people financially in the government, there's like different
Did you know that his
legislation.
economic policy actually
Legislation.
disproportionately disenfranchises Black Americans? The reason being that it
Can
regressively
you pull
serves
up
as a
the
detriment.
Can you pull up the evidence to support that?
For sure. This is coming from the Institute on
Okay,
Taxation
there.
and Economics. Okay. Right. And they'd indicate that his economic policy would decrease the purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year. And it regressively impacts you more the less money you make. And the average socioeconomic standing of a black individual in this country compared to a white individual in this country is lower because of systemic racism, slavery, and its aftermath, meaning that it disproportionately negatively impacts black Americans. Okay. And further yet, you're saying that Donald Trump has done all these racist things and held himself accountable. Show me where he
I would not.
apologized for
I did
calling all
not
black
say
people
he held
lazy.
himself accountable. I will say that he has made conflicting statements to prove
Okay, well,
that
if he
he has
hasn't,
progressed.
so if he hasn't held himself accountable for being racist, he's still racist.
Well, have you? Because you didn't apologize before they leaked the evidence of you saying the racist terms. If you had
I
wanted
well,
to
I
hold yourself
so I
accountable
actually I
before
actually
positively,
I,
you
I
would have
actually
shared that
put out a
yourself.
statement in my Discord 10 months before it occurred, talking about my past use of slurs.
Okay. Can you bring up that Discord chat,
No,
that statement,
no,
to show it?
no.
Okay, so you
Feel free to
can't
go
prove
look in
that.
the feel free to look in the announcement channel
I
on my
will.
Discord.
I will. Can you send the Discord in the chat? I'll join it.
Discord.gg/Dean.
GG/4. Okay, perfect. I'll join and double check that later. Um, and then next topic, ask
Wait,
him if his
why
mom's
do you want to
white.
move on so fast? I just think it's fucking hilarious that you're like, oh, Dean's racist because Dean pointed out the fact that another guest belief literally entailed the justification of killing black people. But then Trump's not racist, even though Trump has called all black people lazy. Trump has denied housing
No, I did
opportunities
not
to
say
black
Trump
individuals.
is not racist.
Don,
I said he's
oh,
done
well,
the
I
same
asked
thing
you
as
if he was
you.
racist, and what did you say?
Well, I used it to basically turn it on you like you do with every other guest.
Well, I think that there's a big
You
difference
turned it
between me
on
and
me.
Trump.
In what ways?
I've held myself accountable. I've apologized, and I've become a better man. He hasn't. Point blank
After
period.
someone leaked it, you can't show the evidence of you saying something before that.
I
It's
became a
just like all of the
significantly
YouTubers.
better man before that was leaked. Are you kidding me?
In what way are you benefiting African American people currently?
Where is this question fucking coming from?
Well, Trump is
I'm
Trump
not
in previous
I'm not gonna
administrations
tokenize.
has
Wait, one
financially
second.
helped
I'm not gonna like
better.
tokenize black individuals and act like a white savior insofar as boasting about how I
You're
think
gonna
I
opt
benefit
that.
them. In
You're gonna
response
act
to
the
your
opposite.
question about me simply pointing out the fact that I've done things that make me more mature than the fucking president. Okay, for sure.
I would say that both you and Trump have said racist things, but also
But the
that
difference between me and Trump, once again, is I've held myself accountable. He hasn't. I've
you
become a
can't
better
prove
man.
it.
He hasn't.
Okay, if you're holding yourself accountable,
Can you show me
how
where
are
Donald Trump has held himself accountable for calling all black people lazy? Can you show me where Trump has held himself accountable? Can you show me where Trump has held himself accountable for trying to get people not to vote for Obama, a black man, saying that he was born in Kenya, therefore he's not constitutionally eligible to run? Can you show me where Trump has held himself accountable for calling for the death penalty for the exonerated Central Park 5 10 years after they were exonerated? Can you show me where Trump held himself accountable for saying that you could racially profile migrants based upon the way they look? Can you show me where Trump has held himself accountable for any of these things? Just one example? Let's make it easy, too. Just pull me a clip of him being like, I'm sorry for calling all black people lazy. That's not that statement on its own isn't true accountability, but maybe that's a step in the right direction. Do you have this step in the right direction coming from Trump?
Sorry, you muted me. Next time, if you want to finish your point, just ask and I'll stop talking.
It's
'cause
easier to
kinda
speaking over
disrupt-
me.
Well, you were speaking over me as well at times. But
Is this just a detraction away from you answering my questions? If so, it's a bad.
no, you asked like 20 questions in a row expecting me to answer them.
Okay,
Ask one question at a time, and then I'll
once
answer
again,
one
the main
question at a time.
the main premise of my question is you're saying that I'm identical to Trump in the context of racism. I disagree because what you're doing it again. You're interrupting me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I disagree. The reason I disagree is because I've been able to hold myself accountable. He hasn't. I've been able to become a better man. He hasn't.
I would say
Voila.
that what is Trump doing currently that is racist? Because you use the economy to say that the African American people are disproportionately under income comparative to white people. So you're saying that that makes him racist because he's doing things that are bad for the economy. But
So
that is
I gave you a bunch of things. I gave you a bunch of things. And listen, it doesn't need to be current if he's never held himself accountable for it or become a better man. Like, yeah, I still think that he's racist.
Well, how are you a better man compared to when you were
I still
14?
think. Really? Are you asking? Really?
Yeah, because of the fact that you weren't able to show yourself getting ahead of and doing anything different.
I mean, if I have to
We
explain
don't know
to you,
what you do after the stream.
if I have to explain to you why I'm a better man today than I was when I was 14, I honestly think
we
that
didn't
you're
know
here
you when you were 14.
with negative intentions and bad faith.
We didn't know.
Yeah, this is you now reaching into very bad faith territory.
Well, you do the same thing with Trump.
Oh wait, so you admit to being in bad faith? Fuck. Leave.
No, but you do the same thing
Wow,
with Trump.
wow. No, you're saying that. Yes, I am being bad faith, but you give the same bad faith behaviors towards Trump. Dude, why do you have the boot? So why do you have the boot so far down your fucking mouth, okay? It's like we have a fascist running our government right now. Fulfills all 14 defining characteristics of fascism. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All of them. And guess what? This fascist is sending our country into a recession. We have one quarter of negative GDP growth under our belt. One more to go. And guess what? He also crashed the stock market. We are down in the red overall since his inauguration. And guess what? This guy's been doing racist shit since the 70s. Guess what? He's hit on little girls. Guess what? He raped E. Jean Carroll. Guess what? He's distancing ourselves this country from all of our allies across the rest of the planet. And he's now trying to take due process not only away from undocumented migrants, but also U.S. citizens. And he's trying to consolidate power to the federal branch of government by ignoring the Supreme Court, saying that, and also arguing that he doesn't know if he has to abide by the Constitution. And then your response to all this is to say, he's just like you, Dean. He's just like you. And you know what? You're so bad faith to him, so I'm going to stick up for Trump. I'm going to be his bodyguard, and I'm going to be bad faith right back to you. How's a boot taste?
Okay. Again.
Have you ever seen that one meme where it's like, leave the multi-billion... Sir, have you ever seen the one meme that's like, leave the multi-billion-dollar corporation alone? Have you ever seen that?
I think so.
Just imagine that meme, but it's like, leave President Trump alone.
But I'm not saying to leave Trump alone for his racist behavior. I'm not saying that he has not said or done racist things, but I'm saying that if doing those things makes him racist, then in theory that would also make you racist.
Nope,
unless you believe,
I've already disputed it.
Unless you believe
I've already disputed it. I've already disputed that. I think the difference between me and Trump is that I've been able to hold myself accountable and become a better man.
So taking accountability for your previous racist actions and words immediately exonerates you from being racist?
No, I think it's more of a progressive thing. You hold yourself accountable, you further deconstruct, and you work to become a better individual for society as a whole. And I believe like that has sufficiently satisfied me from going from being racist when I was younger, using racial slurs, to not racist today.
Well, how do we know that you're not still doing that if you did it once before?
Oh, so you're basically asking me to prove a negative. So how do you know that Trump didn't rape a little girl last night? Because if you're saying I have to provide that you have to provide proof that he didn't, and if you can't provide proof that he didn't, then I can believe that he did. Well, guess what? Now you shouldn't support Donald Trump because he raped a little girl last night.
Past, he definitely could in the future. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying that I never supported him before his presidency this time.
Wait,
I'm
I
saying
want
that
you to
as
directly. I
president,
want you to
there's
directly
nothing
respond.
that
No,
us
no, no, no.
hating
Stop.
him
I want you
on
to
goes
directly
with.
respond to what I just said. You said,
Go
Dean,
ahead.
you have to give me proof that you don't use any racial slurs anymore. And if you can't give that proof to me, I'm going to assume that you do. Okay. Well, the issue with this is that you're asking me to prove a negative. So the burden of proof would actually be on the individual, which is making the positive claim. An example of this is as follows: Donald Trump raped a little girl last night. You have to prove that he didn't. If you can't prove that he didn't, I'm justified in believing he did. That's absurd. That's
You're okay to
why
believe
you
that
have to prove things. Would I be justified in believing that?
without evidence, no. But we do
Oh,
have
so
evidence
do
that
you
you
do you have
have
so
said
do you have
things like that in
evidence?
the
So do you have
past.
evidence that I use racial slurs today?
We have evidence that you've used in the past, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that you
Oh
could again, just
shit!
like
We have evidence. We have evidence that Donald Trump
Harold.
has
Yes,
raped
I
somebody in the
know.
past. So
I
that means
know,
I'm
I
justified in
know,
assuming that last
I
night he raped a
know.
little girl.
It's definitely possible because he has done it before and
So
been proven
I
to
just
do
want to
it.
clarify that you think I am justified in assuming that last night Trump raped a little girl.
If you would like to believe that due to his previous actions, yes. But just like I can believe that you
You're a
are
rage
currently.
baiter. Yeah. Please get off the live. Dude is actually rage baiting. I can't believe he just told us that. I can't believe. Listen here, folks. Apparently, MAGA is so hell bent on me being racist that they're willing to concede that it's justified to believe that Donald Trump raped a child last night.